So the forum took me back to 1985. I was just between school and university, and I spent a lot of time just thinking about Kenya. Kenya was very inequitable at that time. I was very worried about levels of poverty and so on. And I knew there was tremendous political repression, but none of my family would explain this to me in a way that I would understand it.
Truly honored to be paying tribute to an extraordinary figure today. Ngugi was not just a literary icon, but a political force whose work continues to inspire movements and shape discourse on democracy, identity and freedom in Kenya and beyond.
It made me think about Ngugi wa Thiong'o's writings differently. Just from the title, which was writing not to interpret but to change the world, I think it made me think about Ngugi's writing differently, and it made me think about my work as a creative differently.
In many essays that Ngugi has written, at least in 4 essays, there's one central question that Ngugi keeps on asking: for whom do I write? Right? And that question can be expanded. For whom do I write? For whom do I produce?
I will be learning from Ngugi for a very long time to come, right? Because the one thing he learned how to do is that he learned how to make knowledge useful, right? Because a lot of the times the producers of knowledge focus on the scholars, right? It's like their target is the scholars, the people they teach directly. But I feel like Ngugi's work, was for everyday people. Like it was people. So his focus was actually on the people.
In all his writings, Ngugi gives a voice, a name, a face, and a radical alternative voice to the Kenyan peasant and the Kenyan working class. And this is the turning point. This is when he abandons his missionary name and truly becomes writing from a nationalist perspective, moves from writing from national perspective to a Marxist radical perspective.
I liked the way that you had academics and artists. Usually there's this hierarchy of like it's either an academic panel but bringing the different kinds of people who, from my perspective, are knowledge makers together, and so kind of like destroying those hierarchies between what knowledge is important and isn't.
Ngugi gave me back my vision. An incredibly powerful thing, because I also had gone to Nairobi University to study science, and there is no, all your wonderful experiences. We're learning science when there's very little African context. There's very little theory that you can understand. You're just told, okay, this is science, and that's it. So coming out, finding this book was an amazing experience. It put everything back together for me, and gave me a template to continue. Because of course, you're always searching for yourself, to continue searching for myself.
When you're writing research, like I have done research before and I've written it in English, and it was, okay, who am I doing this research for? So I think the major question I've taken away, which I asked in the panel as well, was who is our science for? Who is our writing for? And the idea of democratizing education, democratizing science, and finding ways to reconnect to the history so that we can understand our mission as a generation.
We must absolutely do this. We must pay attention to language as an instrument of democratization, as an instrument of social justice. We must speak in the language of our people. We cannot, and we have the facility of multilingualism. Engaging in African languages does not imply not harnessing the facility of other languages that we speak. Every language that we speak is important. It depends on the audience that we have. We have different switches in our rooms. When in the sitting room, you switch on the light for the sitting room. When in the bedroom, you switch on the light for the bedroom. We have these linguistic facilities. How are we utilizing them to create better societies and so on? So Ngugi resisted monolingualism. He resisted the hierarchy of languages. He celebrated multilingualism.
just coming off of the Nairobi Lit Fest, where again we had conversations about the place of language, the place that literary works have in the revolution process, and you look at where we are as a country right now with the young people rising up and gathering. So it really made me think differently about what role, what is it that I want for my future and for my present. And I like the question that the moderator raised at the end. Who are you reading and why are you reading? Because that's really important. What we consume ultimately helps us in what we are going to do and what we regurgitate.
For me, I still believe to this day that one of the main reasons why we saw the numbers that we saw last year in the streets is because people understood what they were opposing. They weren't there for vibes. They knew exactly what they were opposing. And they knew that because they engaged with this civic education that was being done.
If you want to sustain and deepen the idea of the freedom of expression, or the idea of independent thought, debate and respect for other people's views, you have to do that through conversations, and those conversations are best hosted by institutions that are able to get a diverse set of groups together. Too many of us now spend our times in little chat groups or SMS groups where we are talking to people who think like us, share the same kind of information, and somehow, because there seems to be a set of numbers in a WhatsApp group, we seem to think that we are somehow dealing with diversity, when actually what we're doing is we're just talking to ourselves in an echo chamber. So really bringing people together around strategic themes is so critical for Kenya, particularly at this time when we see an onslaught of populism, disinformation and authoritarianism.